Kobe Bryant spoke to reporters after practice on Tuesday and stood up for Dwight Howard after Shaq called Andrew Bynum and Brook Lopez better than the new Lakers center. Kobe says, Dwight is going to be one of the greatest centers of all time. To not say anything but, that is laughable. Shaq has 3 final MVPs and a myriad of championships, but Dwight does have 3 Defensive Player of the Year awards, something that Shaq was never able to accomplish. So I think there's a lot to be said for Dwight and where he is so early in his career. Now, we asked you all to weigh in on this thought, whether or not it was something to even talk about. Did you agree with the Black Mamba? And 52.4% of you said no. Wow, that's interesting. While 47% said yes. So I guess you do not agree with the Black Mamba, and that's interesting.
Are
because
you shocked by that?
I am. I'm a little shocked by that.
You Laker fan that
but
you are.
But you know what? It's a tight squeeze in there. Now, speaking of the new big man in LA, I'm going to actually ask our good friend Stephen A. to weigh in on it, since you are the NBA insider.
Let me make sure I'm correct, Skip. It says that 52% said no, they don't believe that about Dwight. Is that correct? Is that correct?
Correct.
That's correct.
Those 52% of the people don't know what the hell they're talking about. It's that simple. They're clueless.
You must be part of that
right.
52%.
I'm calling them out. I'm calling them out. They don't know what on earth they're talking about. Kobe Bryant is absolutely, positively correct about the potential that exists within Dwight Howard. This is a reigning 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. He's a greyhound running up and down that basketball court. There are tweaks that he needs to learn in terms of improving his post game, and clearly his foul shooting was just awful last year. But still in all, this is a dude that career averages of 18 and 13 per game. This is a dude that can sit there and put up 20 and 14 a night with his eyes closed. This is what he does. And what he doesn't, the dominance that Shaquille O'Neal had, he clearly doesn't compare to that, because he's never been as dominant offensively as Shaquille O'Neal was in the post, probably because he wasn't 350 pounds. But at the same time, Shaquille O'Neal was never that dude defensively, because he didn't have the motor that Dwight Howard has, playing possession, each possession defensively, running up and down the court, being formidable on both ends of the floor. Shaq was just so dominant offensively that it made up for some of the defensive deficiencies. And I don't even want to call it deficiencies, because Shaq could do what he wanted to do when he wanted to do it. The problem with Shaq, far more times than not, was conditioning and effort, not ability. But in Dwight Howard's case, offensively, there are some limitations with foul shooting, and he needs to improve his post game. But even with that, he's still good for 20 and 14 a night. And defensively, there's nothing to talk about. When you talk about Dwight Howard, I'm telling you right now, you have to think, at least think, not comparing him to that, but you have to think of the Bill Russells of the world and people like that. Because when you're a reigning 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, and you would have been a 4th if you hadn't gotten injured last year, no question in my mind about it, you don't ignore that. Dwight Howard has the potential to be an absolute beast, and Kobe Bryant is absolutely right in saying that.
You know, Kobe Bryant could say that Rasho Nesterovic has a chance to be one of the great big men in history, and Stephen A. would say, Kobe's right about that, because everything comes out of Kobe's mouth is right, and I'm going to say it's right.
Better.
Kobe, call me, because I just said it.
Not Rasho. Hold on, Skip. Not Rasho Nesterovic.
I didn't want to go there.
Not Slava Medvedenko.
Okay,
and certainly not Kwame Brown. Those 3, no. Anybody else, you might have a point.
Kobe, call me.
Okay, now I'm going to get serious here. To Kobe, I say baloney. I realize, Kobe, that you're just defending your new teammate against the old teammate that you still resent for many of the things the old teammate used to say and still occasionally says about you, Kobe. But I got to say, Stephen A. Smith, the case that you're making for Dwight Howard ever being better than Shaquille O'Neal is nearly as black. No, that's what you're saying here.
That wasn't the question.
Yes, it is. It is. That's where you were taking this.
He said this. No, the question was, does Dwight Howard have the potential to be one of the greatest centers ever? Nobody asked me was he going to be better than Shaq?
But you were making the case he has the potential to be better than Shaq, or at least.
I said he has the potential to be one of the greatest centers ever.
Okay, well,
that's the question.
One of the top 100, or what? Let's narrow it a little bit here.
One of the top 5 centers of all time.
Now that's a mouthful. Because you do have a Kareem, and you do have a Wilt, and you do have a Russell, and you do have a Shaquille, right?
But I didn't say he's there. But I'm just saying Shaquille O'Neal. Oh, you got to be a beast. Shaquille O'Neal, to me, is the most dominant player I have ever seen, other than Wilt Chamberlain. And Wilt Chamberlain wasn't considered better than Kareem.
Okay, just let me say it then. To put Dwight Howard even in the same sentence with the Shaquille O'Neal is almost is almost as blasphemous and preposterous and unfair to Dwight Howard as it is to LeBron to put him in the same sentence with Michael Jordan.
Don't go there.
No,
don't
come
go
on.
there.
Hey, it's ridiculous. And you know what? Dwight Howard and LeBron have some things in common. Low intangibles. I can't wait for the fourth quarters to start in Lakerland when Dwight Howard starts disappearing on offense and missing missing every free throw. And all of a sudden you'll say, wait a second, Shaq missed a lot of free throws in his career, just if you add them all up. But, hey, when it was time to make free throws, Shaq could make clutch free throws. And when we're talking about a force of nature in the paint, you know and I know, it's Shaquille, and forget about Dwight Howard.